Hi, I'm Patrick, and today I'm going to show you how to play Audience of One by Rise Against, so let's get into it. So I'm going to split this intro up into 3 different parts. The first part is going to be the main intro riff. This is not hard to do. You're going to have your pinky on the 10th fret of the B string. You want your first finger on the 7th fret of the G string. That's the first part. Second part's going to be all power chords. It's going to sound like this. Pretty easy there. Your root note is going to be on the 5th fret of the A string for the first chord. Then you're going to go down to the 5th fret of the E string, to the 7th fret on the E string, to the 3rd fret on the E string. And you repeat that, and that's the second part. The third part is played while the second part is playing, just on a different guitar, and it sounds like this. So these are all octaves. You have your root note on the A string, so we'll just go through the frets. Start on the 7th fret, slide up to the 9th fret. Then you're going to slide up to the 12th fret, back to the 9th, to the 7th again. Then you're going to slide down to the 5th fret and the 4th fret. And you'll go back and forth between those two. Slide up to the 2nd fret and then the 0th fret, as it were. And then back down, making your way towards the 5th fret. And that's the whole intro. The verse is pretty simple for the first guitar. It's just going to be palm muting the chords we played during the intro. And you're just going to repeat that. So the second guitar is going to have a little bit more to do. One of the parts is going to be this. And all this is have your 3rd finger on the 9th fret of the G string, your first finger on the 7th fret of the G string, and put your pinky on the 10th fret of the B string. It's going to sound like this. So immediately after that, second guitar is going to play these octaves. All these root notes are on the A string, so we're just going to go through the frets. You start on the 2nd fret, 4th fret to the 5th fret, 7th fret to the 9th fret. And that leads into the pre-chorus, which sounds like this. So let's break that up. It's all power chords. You're going to start with your root note on the 2nd fret of the A string. Then you'll slide up to the 5th fret on the A string. Then go to the 3rd fret on the E string. Then the 5th fret on the A string. Then you're going to play an E minor, or if you want, your root note is on the 0th fret of the E string. Repeat that first part again with the 2nd fret on the A string and the 5th fret on the E string. 5th fret on the A string. Then you're going to play the 3rd fret on the E string again. And then you'll just slide up to the 5th fret on the E string. So all together it should sound like this. pre-chorus. So the chorus is also made up of two parts, both being played at the same time. The first is going to be chords, and it sounds like this. And you'll just be repeating that throughout the duration of the chorus. You're going to start on the 7th fret of the E string, down to the 3rd fret on the E string, 5th fret on the A string, 5th fret on the E string. And you'll end like this. That's from the 7th to the 5th to the 3rd. And that's the first guitar. The second guitar is playing octaves. It sounds like this. And you'll just be repeating that. This is going to hurt your fingers at first, but just keep practicing and you'll get the hang of it. So all these octaves are going to be on the A string. We're getting pretty used to that by now. You're going to start on the 7th fret and you'll go back and forth between the 7th and the 5th fret. And then you'll slide up to the 9th fret. And you'll do that 3 times, and then the 4th time you'll end on this. That's just your octave on the 7th fret of the A string. And you'll repeat that until you'll eventually end on this. Those are all octaves starting on the 2nd fret of the A string to the 4th and then to the 5th. So then we move into the second verse, which not much has changed here. One guitar is going to start playing these harmonics. And then you'll go into those palm muted power chords. So if you don't know what a harmonic is, it's basically resting your finger very gently over a string on the raised metal piece of fret in between actual frets. Good places to do this are between the 5th and 6th fret. Sound kind of weird right now. And between the 7th and 8th fret. You can also do it between the 12th and 13th. That's the easiest place to do it. But here we're going to be between the 5th and 6th fret and the 7th and 8th. These harmonics are going to start off on the 7th fret with the B and then the G string. Then you're going to do the G then the B string, but from the 5th fret to the 7th fret. So 5th fret on the G string, 7th fret on the B string. And back to just the 7th fret, it'll go from D to G. And lastly from B to G. This is probably going to look really weird because I forgot to film this part. So, right before the verse starts, these harmonics are played. There you go. So it's going to be on the 7th fret of the B string, down to the 7th fret on the G string, to the 5th fret on the G string, to the 7th fret on the D, and then the G string. So all together it should sound like this. And there you go. Now once the first guitar gets back into palm muting the chords for the verse, all that, second guitar is going to be playing more octaves. And that is basically your pattern there, and it just repeats. You're only going to be on the A string again with your octaves in between the 7th fret and the 9th fret. That's the pattern you'll be repeating for it. So immediately after that you move back into the pre-chorus and then the chorus, which are both exactly the same, so we're going to jump ahead to the bridge, which opens up with the opening. That. And eventually will lead into this. And that's the pattern you'll repeat with one of your guitars throughout the duration of the bridge. It's all power chords, so you're going to start on the 7th fret of the E string, to the 3rd fret of the E string, to the 5th fret of the A once again to the 7th fret of the E string to the 3rd, and then right to the 5th fret. Those are your 2 patterns, and you'll just repeat those over and over again. During the bridge, the solo starts, and it's going to sound like this. So let's break that up into 2 parts. Here's the first part that we're going to do. So you're going to start off by sliding into the 10th fret on the high E string. And then you'll rock your finger back and forth between the B and E string on the 10th fret. To the 12th fret on the E string. And then back to rocking back and forth on the E and B string. Then you're going to hammer on and pull off on the 9th and 10th fret of the high E string. That's the first part. So here's the second part. It's going to sound like this. You're going to start off by sliding into the 7th fret on the B string and hammering onto the 8th fret and then the 10th fret. Then you'll rock your finger back and forth just like the first part. Then you'll go to the 12th fret on the B string, 10th fret on the B string, and hammer on and pull off from the 7th and 8th fret on the B string. So all together the solo sounds like this. And that's the solo. So immediately after the solos, you're going to play these octaves. These octaves are all on the A string. You're going to start on the 5th fret, go to the 7th fret. Then you're going to be from the 9th fret to the 7th fret. And then the 10th fret to the 9th fret, to the 5th fret, to the 12th fret. So 10th to the 9th, to the 5th, and then to the 12th. And then you'll lead into the chorus, and that's the end of the song. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, I hope you learned something, and if you want to try out your new song, you can always play along to one of my covers. Or you could look up the original. Your choice, I suppose. While you're at it, you can go ahead and click on one of these other videos and you can learn another song. And while you're at it, subscribe so you can get notified when I upload new music. Yup. That's all I got. This is probably the best take. So now I'm just gonna stand here. Look awkwardly into the camera. This is fine.